Hey. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for registering for this webinar on the home buying process. What I can assure you is that this home buying webinar is probably going to be quite different from anyone that you've seen before. Yes, we are going to cover important things like credit score, why buying a home is important, how much money you need up front, why inspections are important, and how to get started. But I'm also going to incorporate other things that I feel are going to be beneficial within our 30 to 45 minutes together. Um, just a little housekeeping just to make sure that this time spent together is well spent. Please isolate yourself from any noises or distraction. If you can, get yourself into a quiet room where you can just focus on the information that's being taught. I won't keep you long. So please, your undivided attention is requested. It is required. Number two, don't try to multitask. I know that you are amazingly talented, but please do not multitask. Please give this 100% of your attention. Number three is please have writing utensils, pencil, notebook, tablet, just to take some copious notes. Even though you will be afforded an opportunity to watch the recording, I know your time is limited, and most times you might not find yourself having that time to sit down and watch it again. So take copious notes. And then lastly, I will extend an opportunity for you to be able to contact me to talk more in depth about the home buying process. And also, I'm going to give you 2 free gifts at the end of this presentation. This presentation will be filled with a PowerPoint as well as videos that I will be showing you. So let's get started. Okay, I am Salandia Hammond, aka Suham Baby, and I am a mortgage advisor. I help people get financing for home loans. My NMLS number is 2519087. I am also an ambassador for the First Home IQ, and what that is a nonprofit agency that is dedicated to providing financial literacy to people in America, as well as inspiring people to take on the path of home ownership. Take a picture of the screen. That is my contact info. But also, I'm going to want you to take a quiz at your leisure, not during this presentation, but maybe after the presentation. Take a quiz. Most people only score 57%. They have in their head what they think the home buying process is about, and most people are wrong. So hopefully after this presentation, you guys will have all the answers, but definitely take the quiz and see if you can score higher than the 57, the people who scored 57%. All right. Now we're going to go first into a video that explains, I think, just beautifully the cost and benefits of home ownership. It's going to lay it down why equity is important, lay it down why appreciation is important. It's going to tell you about, some of the things associated with home ownership, like maintenance. It's only a 3-minute video, so please do not use this time to walk away from the computer or your tablet. Please zone in on this relative information. Okay, so here is that video.
Stepping into homeownership can feel like joining an exclusive club. There's the prestige, the pride of ownership, and the perks of building equity. But like any club, there are dues to be paid. And sometimes that club is not your crowd. Renting can totally be the right move. It can give you complete flexibility, especially when you're new to an area or don't have a lot of savings. And home ownership can come with a lot of costs and responsibilities. So let's look at the world of homeownership with eyes wide open. The benefits, the costs, and how to plan wisely if this is a club you want to join. First, there's the equity. Renting might offer flexibility, but every payment goes straight to the landlord. With homeownership, part of each mortgage payment builds equity. Think of it as your savings piggy bank in the form of bricks and mortar. The next big benefit is the appreciation game. Home values have typically risen over time at rates of 3% or more annually, so that home could potentially turn into a great financial investment the longer you own it. Lastly, there's the stability of ownership. You can absolutely get this with renting too, and it's not like you can't get kicked out of your house if you don't pay the mortgage, but there is a sense of stability in knowing you are putting down roots in this community. You're taking ownership over the property, and you're able to really make it your own. When it comes to renting, you can also find a more affordable rental. Put the extra money you have from not owning the home into the stock market and potentially see similar appreciation. So, ownership is not your only option to building wealth, though it has been one of the biggest ways Americans have built wealth historically. Ultimately, whatever decision you make, the key is to remember knowledge is power. If owning a home is in your vision board, arming yourself with info on the cost as early as possible is crucial. So let's talk about the real cost of owning a home. The big first step is your down payment. The myth says you need 20% down, but the reality is much less. With conventional mortgages, you could start with as little as 3%. And let's not forget the handy down payment assistance programs that are often available. Secondly, you've got more than just a mortgage. Sure, there's the monthly mortgage payment, which might feel a lot like rent, but add to that insurance, taxes, and possibly HOA fees. And the last big one is the magic of home maintenance. The fairy tale ends when the faucet leaks and there's no landlord to call. Welcome to the world of repairs and maintenance. It's all on you, but guess what? It's also building skills, resilience, and often home value. Homeownership might come with its set of challenges, but it's also a ticket to financial growth, stability, and the pride of having a place to call your own. If homeownership is something you want in life, then dive in with knowledge, budget with care, and watch your little corner of the world turn into both a home and a sound investment.
Okay, so that was a really, really great video. Let's talk about the benefits of home ownership. So, if you were taking notes, and you'll know that two of the major benefits of home ownership is building equity, right? And appreciation, which can lead to wealth. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I love home ownership, but also it gives a sense of pride of owning where you live, right? You don't have to worry about someone raising the rent. You don't have to worry about somebody saying, hey, you got to get out because I'm selling the property. This is my humble abode. Now, moving on in the presentation, historical data, according to the Fed, this is the source from the Fed, historically, people who own real estate become much wealthier than people who don't. And as you can see, the wealth gap is widening between homeowners and renters. Homeowners are the ones on the top here with green. Those who own homes, typically, they become wealthier. Those who rent, basically, this is where they're looking at. The net worth is typically, as of 2022, the net worth was 10,400. The net worth of an average homeowner was $396,200. So there's a big wealth gap of $385,000. Now, 12 years ago, the wealth gap was only 181,000 between renters and homeowners. And look at how much it has widened since then. Now, let's talk about the cost of home ownership. Since we've talked about the benefits of owning a home, let's talk about the cost, okay? Contrary to what a lot of people tell you, you will need some upfront money to buy a house. Let's make this screen bigger so you can see it. You are going to need money for an appraisal, money for inspections, and your EMD, which is earnest money deposit, which is money that you put down when you sign the contract and you tell the seller, hey, I want to buy your house. This is good faith money, letting them know, hey, you can take your house off the market right now because I am in the process of buying your house. In South Carolina, typically what people are asking for on average for earnest money deposit is $1,000. So you will need that. Inspections. Please do not let anyone talk you out of having inspections on your house. Get that house inspected. And what a home inspector does, and we'll explain that more in another video later on in this seminar, but they check your house from top to bottom. Typically, home inspections in South Carolina range between $400 to $600. You will also be required to pay for an appraisal. An appraisal determines the value of the home that you are buying. In order for banks to say, hey, I'm going to give you this money on this house, they have to make sure that the value is there to support it. Most appraisals are between $600 to $800, depending upon the size of the house and if it's upstairs or downstairs. You'll also want to have a termite inspection done. Please do not waive this. This checks to see if there's any wood decay, wood rot, or any termites that might be in that house. This typically ranges between $100 to $150. So in upfront money, here's what you're going to need before you even make it to the closing table to sign documents and get the keys to your home. You're going to need $1,000 on average for earnest money deposit, $400 on average for a home inspection, $600 on average for an appraisal, and $100 on average for a termite inspection. So you're looking at needing approximately $2,100 to $2,500 up front to purchase your home. That does not include the down payment. That does not include closing costs. Now, there are down payment assistance programs that will help with the down payment. Okay. Those down payment on a home could be anywhere between 3% down all the way up to 20%. However, you do not need 20% to put down on a home because there is a program called USDA where if you qualify, it's 0% down. However, with the USDA loan, there are three things you must consider. One is it has location restrictions. It's only available in certain areas. Two, there are income restrictions. Three, your debt to income must be really, really low to qualify for it in most cases. All right. But that is a 0% down payment program. Then if you are a veteran like myself, I'm a Marine veteran, there is 0% down payment for veterans because we have served our country. It's actually probably the best loan program, in my opinion, that is available. Veterans pay 0%. There is no primary mortgage insurance that's tacked on, no extra fee to make the lender feel good about loaning you the money. Basically, you just have to come up with your upfront costs, which are your earnest money deposit, your appraisals, and your inspections. Okay. There will be other monies that are due, but just wanted to cover the 0% down program. And then there's also a program, an agency called NACA that you can go with that is 0% down. I don't work with NACA. From what I've heard, it's a great program. However, it is a long and strenuous procedure, if I can use that word procedure, but it could be beneficial if you're willing to stick it out. I'm told it's like 6 to 9 months. Okay. I don't know their requirements, but I do know that they offer 0% down. So now there are down payment costs and closing costs associated with the loan. Down payment typically, again, like I said, is anywhere between 0 to 20% down on the loan. I've already told you the 0% programs, USDA, Veterans, VA, and NACA programs. There's FHA, does not stand for first-time homebuyers. It is Federal Housing Administration, created a program to help people with less than perfect credit scores and people who may not have a bunch of money to put down on a house to get into a house. So the down payment for an FHA loan is 3.5% of the sales price. Okay. Conventional loans, 3% of the sales price. If you want to put down more, you can definitely put down more. Now, when it comes to closing costs, please factor in at least 3 to 5% of the purchase price for the closing costs. So what am I saying? I am saying that upfront money you will need for earnest money deposit, inspections, and appraisal is going to be between $2,100 to $2,500. If you are going into a program that requires a down payment, go ahead and factor anywhere between 3% to 5% of a down payment, unless it's USDA, NACA, or veteran assistance, veteran loans. For closing costs, please factor anywhere between 3 to 5% of the purchase price. All right. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. We can talk about that more in detail. We'll also have a video to explain more of that. Let's do a quick quiz. What is one of the main financial benefits of owning a home? Is it high mobility, building equity, lower upfront costs, or no maintenance responsibilities? If you said building equity, then you are 100% right. On average, historically, how much have homes appreciated in value each year? Is it 1 to 2%, 3 to 5%, 6 to 8%, or 9 to 11%? If you said B, 3 to 5%, you are 100% right. Okay. So we've talked about the cost now, and we've talked about the benefits of owning, home appreciation, and the ability to build wealth over time, stability, the community of owning your property. It's an amazing thing. So let's talk about the steps to buying a home. This is probably what you are most concerned about. After you find out how much money is required, you probably want to know, okay, what are the steps? So we have an amazing video for you. One moment, please.
An exciting milestone, but it can also feel like you're navigating a maze with no exit in sight. So, whether you're ready to buy now or it's years down the road, we want to break down what you should know. First, a few things to consider when starting your home search. Set a budget. Before you even start looking, know how much home you can afford. Factor in not only the mortgage payment, but also property taxes, homeowners insurance, and potentially HOA fees. Also, consider a budget for ongoing home maintenance since you'll be replacing your refrigerator when it breaks. It's tempting to reach for the stars, but remember, just because you're approved for a certain amount doesn't mean you should spend that much. Second, consider your location. Think about factors like how close you are to work, friends, parks, whatever you care about. Can you walk to the grocery store or is it a 30-minute drive? Next, make a wish list versus need list. Sure, we all dream of a pool, but what do you really need in your home? Maybe it's a certain number of bedrooms or how close you are to the metro. Distinguish between your wants and your absolute needs. Okay, now the nitty gritty of the buying process. Ready? First step, get pre approved. This should be the first thing you do before getting serious about looking at homes. This will give you a clear picture of what you can afford and show sellers you're serious. You can start with any online lender to get your pre approval, but then you'll want to shop for an experienced mortgage advisor. A good mortgage advisor should really guide you through the process, not just give you a good rate or low fees, but find the right mortgage product for you, use down payment assistance if it's available, and provide education. Next, find an experienced realtor. They're your home shopping guide, your advocate, and your source of local housing knowledge. Once you get serious about a home, you're liking its vibe, and you think you might want to settle down, you'll make an offer. And if it's accepted, then you'll get a home inspection. Don't worry, you can still decide not to go through with it. Inspections can uncover potential problems like structural issues or old plumbing. We recommend being thorough with your inspections because it can save you a lot of money and headaches in the long run. If you keep moving forward on that home, then you'll head into negotiations. Maybe the home needs a new roof, or perhaps you think the price is too high given recent sales in the area. This is where your realtor will shine, helping negotiate terms that work for you. As you work on negotiations, you'll also finalize the mortgage. Go back to your lender with the home information to finalize your mortgage details. And lastly, you'll gather your down payment and closing costs and head to closing time. This is the finish line. Here, you'll sign a ton of papers, but when you're done, you'll have the keys to your new home. Now, what to do and what not to do as a first time home buyer. Do research, know the market, understand the neighborhoods, down payment assistance options, and your needs and wants. Do factor in additional costs. Think closing costs, moving expenses, and potential home repairs. Don't skip relevant inspections. Even if the home looks perfect, there might be major problems lurking. And lastly, don't buy over your budget. It's easy to fall in love with the house that's out of your price range, but you don't want to find yourself in a stressful situation after you've bought the house. At the end of the day, buying a home isn't just about property ownership. It's about owning decisions that will give you your best life. We have a ton of experts in this area, so don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions.
Okay, so it is extremely important to establish your budget. Understand what you can and cannot afford. I have so many people when I speak to them, I'm like, okay, how much can you afford to pay for your mortgage? They're like, I don't know. So it is extremely important, which is why I sit down and I go through it with them. How much income you have coming in and how much debt you have going out. Mind you, we're only going to take into account what's on your credit report, the debt that is on your credit report. So if we're not accounting for any insurance that you may be paying for a car note, we're not accounting for any money that you may be giving to a family member, groceries, utility bills, anything of that kind. That's why it's so important for you to do your own budget of this is all the money coming in, this is all the money going out. This is what I can afford as it pertains to a mortgage, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and perhaps homeowners association fees. Do not overstretch yourself. I cannot state that enough. Your first step after you've done your budget is to contact me for your pre-approval. What I will need from you is very important. I don't do pre-qualifications. I don't. That's just waste of time. When you're dealing with a professional realtor, they are going to want a pre-approval. A pre-approval is so much stronger than a pre-qual because with the pre-approval, what I am requiring from you is your photo ID, 2 months of your bank statements to document if you have the money for your down payment and closing costs. So I need 2 months of bank statements. I need 2 of your most recent pay stubs because I'm documenting your income if you make enough to be able to buy this home. I'm also going to need your 2 last W-2s because I'm verifying that you have the income coming in, you've been working at a job. And then I'm also going to need any other assets you may have, like a 401k. Perhaps you have money in retirement, 401k, or perhaps you have money in stocks and bonds that you would like for us to use as assets. So I'm going to need your photo ID, 2 of your last pay stubs, your last 2 W-2s, your last 2 bank statements, and any retirement stocks and bonds information that you may have that we can include for this pre-approval. And then I'm going to run your credit. So I'm going to look at your credit, I'm going to look at your income, and I'm going to look at your assets, and I'm going to look at your employment. And that is going to paint a picture if you're pre-approved. It's going to tell us how much you're pre-approved for and what loan program we need to put you in. And from there, we can tell you how much of the down payment and closing costs that you would need to have ready to come to the closing table. So the first step is to set your budget. The second step is to get your paperwork in order, contact me, and see where you stand as far as with a pre-approval. All right, I am a mortgage advisor. And so one of the great benefits of being a mortgage advisor is I bring experience and expertise, knowledge about the market. I'm an effective communicator. I have several different lenders that I go to. So sometimes when others tell you no, I may be able to tell you yes. However, I can't fix a bad credit score. I can't fix not having money. So I am not a magician. Understand that you're going to have some skin in the game. When you're going out and you're looking at homes, right? Needs versus wants. Let's be practical. Some of you want like a 5,000 bedroom house, and you're not quite ready for a 5,000 bedroom house because your income doesn't show that you are ready for it. All right. So it's okay to start with a starter home and build your way up, because after you lived in that home for a year or 2 years, which the data shows that people move from homes every 3 to 5 years. So after you lived in that home for a year, you could sell that home. You could possibly have made some appreciation, some equity where you get money back at closing, or that home can now become a rental property for you. So now you have your first investment property after living there a year or 2 or 3 or 5 in your starter home. And then when you're ready to move into a bigger home because your family grows or just because you want something bigger, you can do that, and it'll be done off of affordability and wisdom. All right. So what are some examples of needs and wants in a home? Consider what's the biggest need for you. Like, how many bedrooms do you have to have? How many bathrooms do you have to have? Does it need to be close to your school, children's school? Does it need to be close to your employer? These are things that you will need to talk about. Next step is finding a great real estate agent. All right. A great real estate agent is going to provide you with expertise in negotiating terms that benefit you, like price adjustments or negotiating closing costs. Like I told you before, sellers can help to pay some of your closing costs. A great real estate agent will help to negotiate that. And if a house needs repairs, a great real estate agent will help to negotiate the seller paying for those repairs or getting those repairs done prior to you closing. I think it's imperative to have a great team of people, and that team of people is myself, your mortgage advisor, to get the financing. Number two, your real estate agent. Number three, your housing inspector, and of course, your attorney. Now, typically, your real estate agent is going to add those other, help you to gain access to those other people on your team, like the housing inspector and the real estate attorney that will handle it. So, when choosing a real estate agent, please choose someone that is knowledgeable. Remember what I told you, never forego inspections. Inspections are crucial because you're not going to crawl up under the house. You're not going to see what's wrong with that house. You're not going to go up in the attic, see what's going on up in there. But a housing inspector will. I don't care if it's a brand new house. I don't care if it's an already established house. It's already been built. Please have an inspection on any home that you plan to buy. Now let's talk about locking in your mortgage loan. All right, so we've done your pre-approval. We looked at any finance changes that need to be done. We've chosen the right mortgage product, whether if you're a veteran, it's a VA program. If it's USDA, if you qualify for that program, or if it's FHA, would you qualify for that program? And we've considered your down payment. So now we want to go ahead and lock it in, your interest rate. Now we're heading to closing. We've already done your appraisal. We've already done the housing inspection. We've already looked at everything. It's closing time. So, what do we expect at closing other than to receive the keys to go into our house and other than celebrating, right? Let's talk about it. But before we go into it, let's go into this. I have quiz lined up in here. Let's talk about why a home inspection is crucial before buying a home. Is it to decorate the home, to identify potential hidden problems, to meet the neighbors, or to choose paint colors? If you said B, to identify hidden potential problems, then you are 100% right. Let's talk about home financing, go more in detail. So we went through the steps, right, of what it takes to close on a home, right? First, you want to work your budget. Then you want to get pre-approved. Seek out a mortgage advisor. Myself, I'll help you with that. Then you want to locate a great realtor. Then you want to have the inspections done, the appraisals done, everything comes back, it's all good to go. Then you go to closing and you get your keys. Those are the steps to the home buying process. But let's talk about how much money do we need to put down on a home? What are the pros and cons of putting down less or more on a home? And you guessed it, I've got a video that's going to explain it more in detail.
Taking the leap into home ownership, that down payment is your first big hurdle. But with rising costs, saving for a home is not what it used to be. Saving for a down payment today requires real strategy and discipline. Let's dive in. Budgeting is king. The magic starts with an organized budget. Don't just glance over your expenses, analyze them. Where's your money going each month? Which expenses can be trimmed? Let the numbers guide you. And forget the age old advice of skipping that daily latte. If it sparks joy, embrace it. But let's talk bigger game investing. This is the silent hero. Let's say you figure out a way to save just $27 a day. That's $10,000 a year. But why let it sit? Invest it. A 7% market return can push that 10,000 to over 14,000 in just 5 years. Your money's working for you even while you're sipping on that latte. And while we're on the topic of budgeting, think about those big ticket items like vacations. Vacations are soul food, and I will never tell you to ditch them. And you'll never see me ditching mine. But how about swapping out the Italian Riviera for Yosemite? Exploring local beauties can be both fulfilling and cost effective. Another big ticket item is your car, which we might call the silent money drainer. Those shiny wheels might look tempting, but car loans are a major reason young people delay their down payment savings. To be fair, your car might be my vacation, but really think hard about how you can find the functional pre owned Yosemite of cars and hold off on the Riviera for now. Moving on. Student loans are the number one reason young people delay saving for a down payment. So tread carefully. If you're already saddled with them, look for options to minimize the burden. If you're contemplating student loans, research is your best friend. Remember, they're double-edged sword. They can open doors, but can also anchor you in debt. Check out your community for some great resources on this. Lastly, look for down payment assistance. So many people overlook this one that is often readily available. From down payment assistance programs to loans with low initial payments, there's help out there. Don't shy away from seeking advice from mortgage specialists, and also check out the website downpaymentresource.com to find what assistance might be available in your area. Let's wrap it up. Saving for a down payment in today's fast paced, high cost world requires a mix of old school discipline and new school strategies. Budget, invest, make smart choices, and always stay informed about available aid. Your dream home might be closer than you think. Remember, every dollar saved is a brick closer to building your dream and owning your future.
All right, so we have covered a lot. I'm looking at 30 minutes. I said no longer than 45 minutes with you. We're about to go into this last session, which is the credit score, but I just want to do a quick recap. We've talked about the benefits and costs of owning a home. We've talked about the types of loan, USDA, NACA organization that offers 0% down payment, veteran loans, FHA loans, which are Federal Housing Administration loans, and conventional loans. And we've talked about how much is required for those down payments. We've talked about upfront money that is required, which is the earnest money deposit, appraisal, and inspections, which in South Carolina, typically you're going to need about $2,100 to $2,500 upfront. Then we talked about closing costs and down payment, how there are down payment assistance programs that can help with that. And sellers can also contribute towards closing costs. But in the event that sellers don't help, or you don't qualify for down payment assistance programs, you need to have anywhere between 3 to 5% for down payment and 3 to 5% for closing costs. All right, let's talk real quickly for about 2 minutes on down payment assistance programs. They're not all created equal. Some down payment assistance programs require you to have a 640 middle credit score in order to qualify for them. Some require you to pay back the down payment while you're paying your first mortgage. Some are completely forgivable. It's 100% forgivable if you live in your house for a certain amount of years. So just because there are down payment assistance programs, don't automatically assume that you qualify. In my opinion, it is a good rule of thumb to have money to buy a house. If for some reason you get to the closing table and you don't have to put down anything, or you don't have to pay closing costs, man, what a tremendous blessing that will be. But be prepared and have money up front. Now I want to go into this last session, which is credit scores. The role of a credit score, what exactly is it? Well, it's a number that measures your ability to repay your mortgage, and it typically ranges between 3 to 800. It's important because it's going to determine your interest rate. Your interest rate determines how much your mortgage is going to be. So the better your credit score, the better interest rate you get, the lower mortgage you get, the less interest you pay on your home mortgage. Now, honestly, I think you should strive to get a 640 credit score. And the reason for that is because you can qualify for so many other programs. However, there are lenders who will finance you with a 580 credit score. But bear in mind, you're going to get a higher interest rate, and you won't qualify for as many lender credits as you could possibly qualify for. And 3, you may not qualify for any down payment assistance programs because your score is a 580. All right. I recommend everyone goes to myfico.com, right there, myfico.com, and pull your credit report. There, the scores that we're looking at are your mortgage scores. You're going to get three scores: one for Experian, one for TransUnion, and one for Equifax. We look at the middle score. So that means throw out the high score, throw out the low score. We want your middle score. You can go to myfico.com, look at those scores, pay for that report, which is only $30. If you're not willing to invest $30 to pay for that report to see what your scores are, then you're probably not ready to buy a home. Just being honest. We look at the middle score, see what that middle score is. We want to shoot for a 640. If you don't have a 640, just bear in mind, if you're needing down payment assistance, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to qualify. All right. So that means that you will have to bring money, have your money up front. Either way it goes, you still need money up front for appraisals, earnest money deposit, and inspections. And you're going to keep hearing me say that because so many people think that they can buy a house without having any upfront money, and that is not the case. All right. Debt to income is very, very important. This is where we look at how much income you have coming in versus how much debt you have going out. And I told you earlier on that the only debt that we are looking at is the debt that is on your credit report. If you have high debt to income ratio and it looks like you cannot afford this mortgage, then you're either going to have to do one of two things. One is put down more money to bring down the amount that's being financed for the home, or two, you have to increase your income either by getting a higher paid job or probably bringing on a co-borrower. Okay, so those are things that are very important. Reading the slide here, the role of your debt to income, which we call it DTI ratio. What is it? It's the percentage of your monthly income that goes towards paying debts. Why do we care? We use this to assess your ability to manage monthly payments and to repay your debts as well as your mortgage. Okay, let's talk about some things that you learned today. I hope that you have learned a lot today. I hope that you've learned the types of loans, USDA, FHA, and conventional, which are the most popular, even though there are jumbo loans and other type loans, DSCR loans. The one that we're talking about for primary residence is USDA loans, conventional, and FHA loans. I hope you learned that it does take money up front for purchasing a home. I hope you learned typically what the average percentage is for a down payment and for closing costs, and that you understand that hiring a great mortgage advisor and a great realtor is paramount to your home buying process. If you would like to learn more, I want to invite you to book a free consultation with me at Consult with Sue Ham. It doesn't cost you a penny. You just go to consultwithsueham.com and book a free loan presentation, a free home buying consultation. Take about 15 minutes. We'll determine from there if you should put in an application to start your home buying process, or if you have any more questions that I may not have addressed on this presentation. All right, as I told you, you guys stayed to the end. I have a couple of free gifts for you. I want you to go to loanswithsueham.com. I'm going to pull that up on the screen here. And let's see if I can present that real quick. I want you to go to loanswithsueham.com. I have a free home buyer guide. You just put in your email here and it'll be instantly emailed to you. I also have a free home buying book. It covers all of the information, just more in detail. Again, this is a 30, 45-minute presentation. Didn't want to overwhelm you. So if you want to go more in detail, you can access my free home buying book online immediately. Simply, guys, again, just go to loanswithsueham.com and you'll have access to those two things. And the third thing is you can join my Facebook group. And all of this freebies can be found on my website, loanswithsueham.com. If you want to book your free loan consultation with me, we'll jump on the phone. We'll talk about your scenario. Just simply come to loanswithsueham.com and book your free loan consultation. If you say, hey, I'm just ready to apply for a mortgage, then simply come to loanswithsuham.com and you can apply for your mortgage. Okay. I want to thank you guys for being here, for not thinking it robbery, for spending 40 minutes of your time with me. If you get this recording in your email, feel free to share this recording with whomever you think needs to know about the home buying process. If they're in the state of South Carolina, I am more than willing to help them secure their first home. And if they're not ready, I'll definitely be willing to help them get ready. You just got to take the action. So thank you again for joining me on this home buying presentation. The website is loanswithsuham.com. Let's go back there. Loanswithsuham.com. Let's make it bigger for you guys. Loanswithsuham.com. And you will be able to get all your freebies that I promised you at the beginning of this presentation. Thank you. Have a great day.